obviously Justin Fields is sitting on the sideline watching all of this. He's been in the meetings. Does this experience, you think, help him at all? Taking a step back and watching a guy like Bagent out there get the ball out of his hands quick. Obviously it's a different play. It's a different game plan. The circumstances are different. But it's still football. And sometimes I wonder, getting a second to break away from the everyday stresses of being a starting quarterback. And obviously he's hurt, and now he just gets a different view. I wonder maybe if this helps a little bit. Obviously, there's a lot of debate on if Justin's going to be, a future of this franchise. But there's still games to be played, and there's still time for that to show. And I just wonder what your opinion is on this little mini break of like, hey, watch Tyson. This is what he's doing well. And maybe Justin has an opportunity to add some of this to his game where it's, let's get rid of the ball quicker, and maybe he sees things on the sideline he doesn't see normally in a football game when things are going 700 miles an hour.
I think you could make a case for it. I think you can look back as recently as late last season when Trevor Siemian came in and had the offense actually moving pretty well. When Justin came back, he was looking a lot more like Siemian than he had previously, as far as like getting stuff out on time to the short stuff, like getting through stuff quickly and just getting the ball out. There was, after he watched Siemian for a game, I think it was just that Jets game, but he came back and it all started to look a little bit smoother. Just, I think the process of like, okay, I see how this can work. Now granted, he'd seen it before. So like, it's not like it's a new thing, like something just suddenly clicks like, oh, I get it now. I don't think that that's what you're talking about. If anything, I would say it could be interesting for a lot of people. Teaching is the best way to learn, right? And we know we heard that Fields was working like crazy with Bagent to get him ready for this game. Him teaching concepts, ideas, explaining things out, because when I say like, why if an offensive lineman, if an offensive tackle and an offensive guard are combo blocking on a 3 technique, like why it's important for one of them to have their inside leg in front of the other's inside leg, like understanding it top to bottom versus just saying it, like understanding that, because that first guy needs to be able to step in and take the full man while the second guy peels off to the linebacker. That understanding the responsibility and seeing it in live action happen, not through your eyes, but from the sideline, I think can help you understand the big picture a little bit better. So I could see that being kind of at play where he's, he tells Tyson Bagent why his read needs to go 1 to 2 to 3. And then Bagent asks why, and he needs to be able to think it through and process, well, why? Yeah. Why is that? And then like thinking it through, not that he doesn't know, but that you don't think about it every time you look at it, right? You start to forget the fine details of things the more you see it. So maybe that could help.
Yeah, I like that thought, because I think too, like even in every day, that's a common thing for anybody in the workplace, not just an NFL quarterback. Being somebody who teaches and can understand all the little nuances and understand why you do things too. Maybe this is also time to ask those questions to Luke Getsy of why. Why do we look at it this way when we're on the sideline? And sure, I'm sure those conversations happen all the time, but maybe they're happening more often because there's just more time for Justin to be in his ear, opposed to now I got to go get with, the wide receivers to get on the same page. I got this I got to do. I got that I got to do. No, now it's just this time to sit next to Luke Getsy and just be like, hey, why do we teach this concept this way? And what does he see and what am I supposed to be seeing? And I don't know. I love Justin Fields. I'm going to root for that kid all the way to the bitter end, and I'll probably end up rooting for him if he ends up going somewhere else. And I'm still stuck in the day of like, I still think this kid could be something because there is so much talent. And maybe that's the Cub fan in me and I'm just hopeful. But I still think that there's there's still time to correct this wrong too. And there's still time to correct some of this stuff. And he's just so damn talented, man. It's hard to sit here and like just throw the X and be like, all right, well, let's get Caleb Williams or Drake May or somebody else in here right away when you have a guy like that who's that talented in your room already and you still can't get it done. I think like in terms of like the win-loss column, this kind of just like rounds out what we were talking about earlier too. Yeah, you can get a generational talent at quarterback. And then I think the next part of it has been one of the Bears' biggest problems, and it's the development part after. So we can sit here and root for the top pick and root for, this and that to pull our way, but then it comes down to what's in the building and what they're teaching. And I think that's the most important part of it. I mean, Patrick Mahomes sat behind, Alex Smith for a year, learned for a whole year, and then decided that just came out, was just reading this. He didn't know coverages or protections for, over a year. So there's a lot of things that a quarterback needs to learn. I just sit here and I'm like, man, he's so talented. And now it's like, man, I hope the best for the kid. And I sit here and I'm just frustrated because of it.
Yeah. No, I think the best analogy I can put to that is I used to do some boxing just for like fun and exercise and but every time I'd spar, it was like I'd take some hits to the face because like when you're boxing, your hand is supposed to be up here, but they start to sag and they start to sag. And it's like they could tell me all they wanted that my hands were sagging, but until I sat around the sparring ring and saw it happen to someone else, it never fully clicked for me, right? It never fully clicked for me. After that, it became a lot easier in the ring for me to think like, oh, that it was happening to that guy. I got to be careful of that. Because I saw it happen to someone else, not through my own eyes. Well, through my own eyes, but not from my point of view. I saw it from their point of view, which made a huge difference. And I think that is something you can hope he gets out of this.